What is up, car addicts? In this video, I'll be talking about this week's Dub Money event week, as well as the newest additions and discounts as well. This event week is for September 29th through October 5th, 2022. So, for new content this week, we unfortunately have no new car today, which is honestly very surprising to me. I really didn't think Rockstar was going to do this again like they did for those 2 weeks in a row earlier this month, but it does seem like that's the case, unfortunately. Let's hope they don't skip next week as well. However, we did get this new Junk Energy Skydive thing this week, which is basically like the old parachuting jobs, but in free mode. Kind of random. But anyways, the current prize ride for this week is the Infernus Classic. This car is primarily based on the Lamborghini Diablo and has a normal price of about $900,000. To get this car for free, you have to place top 2 in a Street Series race for 3 days in a row. In terms of performance, it is in the Sports Classics class that can still make it into the top 5 depending on the track, but obviously it's still a ways off the pace of the faster and even less expensive Turismo Classic. But overall, the Infernus Classic is still a very nice car with good customization. Plus, it has a very nice interior model and engine model as well. It's super detailed. You can tell Rockstar put a lot of effort into these older Lambos and Ferraris. In terms of the test ride vehicles for this week, we have the JB700, the Jester Classic, and the ZR350 as well. And for next-gen console players, we have the Brioso RA as the HSW test ride vehicle for this week. Now, in terms of the casino podium vehicle, we have the SC1. So this car is primarily based on the BMW homage concept mixed with the BMW i8. It has a normal price of about $1.6 million, so definitely not a cheap car. In terms of performance, this car is in the supercar class and is one of the slowest cars in that class, around the pace of the Vaca and the Cheetah. So again, not that quick of a car for being in the supercar class, and honestly, I really think it should have been in the sports class. In terms of the dealership cars for this week, for luxury autos, we have the Zentorno and the Jester RR. And for Simians, we have the Dubsta, the Greenwood, the Sentinel XS, the Yuga Classic, and the Retinue Mark II as well. Moving on to the discounts, in terms of property discounts, we have 40% off the hangars, plus 40% off the upgrades and renovations for them as well. This property is needed to purchase and customize most of the aircrafts in game, so if you don't own one, I highly recommend acquiring one this week. Moving on to the vehicle discounts, we have 40% off the Jester Classic. So this car is in the sports car class and isn't really all that fast, but it still has great customization and is based on the legendary Mark IV Supra, so I guess there's that. Moving on to the Benny's website, the conversion cost for the Moonbeam, which turns it into the Moonbeam Custom, is 50% off this week, which is pretty good. That brings that custom conversion cost down to $185,000, which is a pretty good deal for a vehicle with that much customization. Moving on to the Warstock website, we have 40% off the Hunter. So this is a combat helicopter and is very good if used properly, with great customization options from the hangar. I think this is a pretty solid deal on this one. Next up, we have 35% off the Bombushka. So this used to be a ton of fun to open the rear hatch and kind of put cars back there with your friends and fly around, just mess around. But they did patch it a while ago and put an invisible wall there to ruin all the fun. So honestly, I don't really use mine for anything anymore. I don't really think it's useful for anything anymore, honestly. Moving along, we have 30% off the Molotov, a great aircraft in terms of customization and design, but in terms of dogfighting, it does lack a bit in comparison to the Laser and the Hydra, which makes sense considering it's an older jet. Next up, we have 30% off the Tula. So this, of course, is the aircraft that can land on water and is pretty useful in some situations, but for the most part, I don't really see the reason to own this one. Moving on to Latest Travels website, we have 20% off the recently added Kanata helicopter. This thing takes off very quickly, probably one of the quickest in game to gain altitude, but it unfortunately has no visual upgrades except for some liveries, and that's pretty much it. Next up, we have 30% off the Luxor Deluxe, which is honestly still way overpriced even with this discount. Now, usually every year for Black Friday, they make this one 50% off, so if you really want this one, I would hold off until then. And for those of you who don't know, this is basically just a Luxor that allows you to smoke cigars and drink champagne inside. That's pretty much it. Moving along, we have 50% off the Swift and the Flying Bravo variant as well. This is a great helicopter that's very easy to fly and quick to get around the map if you don't own an Oppressor or any other flying vehicle or aircraft. This is honestly a very fair price for this helicopter. In terms of login unlocks, you can get this orange tech demon mask for free just for logging in this week, which is pretty cool. In terms of double money, we have double money NRP on the adversary mode Turf Wars, plus double money NRP on Flight School, and the hangar business as well, which is arguably the worst business in the game. Even with double money, this one really should have been triple money in my opinion, honestly. Moving on to the Prime Gaming discounts for Prime Game members only. So again, same as usual, the only thing we have is the usual free $125,000 for logging in during the event week period. And lastly, this week's RC Bandito time trial is Cemetery. This week's normal time trial is Great Ocean Highway. I highly recommend a car with a high top speed or a fast bike such as the Hakachu Drag, Shotaro, or Batty 801 for this time trial. In terms of the premium race for this week, we have the supercar race taking off. I highly recommend either the Emirates, Krieger, or the Vest 8 for that race. And if you're on next gen, I highly recommend using the HSW Weaponized Ignis or the HSW Devest 8. And lastly, for next gen console users, the HSW time trial for this week is Textile City. As always, the HSW Hakachu Drag will be the best one for these. In terms of my vehicle discount pick of the week, we only have 2 cars on sale this week. The rest of them are aircrafts, but yeah, I suppose the Jester Classic would probably be my pick of the two with this 40% discount. Not the best discount in the game, but it is based on the Supra like I said earlier, and I'm sure most people who don't own it yet are going to buy it this week. But anyways guys, hope this was helpful. Overall, this event week really isn't all that great in my opinion, especially with the lack of a drip feed car. And the double money and the bonuses aren't really all that great, plus a lack of vehicle discounts as well, mainly tailored towards aircrafts this week, which I guess does make sense. But anyways guys, let's hope next week is better. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.